Good evening. It being 5 o'clock, I shall call this regular meeting of the Council of the Town of Fort Frances to order. What a pleasant sight it is to see a full gallery, and most of you are smiling, which is not always the case, so welcome. We'll begin, as we always do, with the territorial acknowledgement. We respect and truly acknowledge that we are on Treaty 3 territory, the traditional land of the Anishinaabe and the Métis Nation. We give gratitude and honor to the ancestors, elders, and all Anishinaabe and Métis people for sharing their resources and knowledge. Councillors, any disclosure of pecuniary interest, and if so, state the general nature thereof. Councillor Morrison?
Yeah, it's in camera. I'm declaring a pecuniary interest of in-camera session. AR 26-1114, dealing with Agency 1.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. That's noted. Any other declarations?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to go back a minute, back to March of 2023. I checked with the Integrity Commissioner back then in regards to conflict of interest between myself and the Kiwanis Club. At that time, my wife was a member, and the Integrity Commissioner deemed that there was no conflict, there was no pecuniary interest for her or I. Last fall, she became the president of the Kiwanis Club, and we are having lengthy discussions about Sunny Cove Camp. And with my wife's new position as president, unbeknownst to me, there is a conflict. And when I spoke with the Integrity Commissioner this morning, he explained that to me. And so at this point, I am declaring a conflict in regards to Sunny Cove Camp sale.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mackey. Your conflict is noted. Okay, moving on to item number 4, delegations and deputations. We have one, Ms. Marie Brady. Are you here? Hey, if you could come up to the microphone here and welcome.
Down. Thank you. That's perfect. Thank you. That's good. Yep. Thank you.
And whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Your Worship and councillors, good evening, everyone. My name is Marie Brady. I've been a resident of Fort Frances for 35 years, and I'm here tonight not to talk to you about too many deer in my neighborhood, which unfortunately might be the case, but no, unfortunately, I'm instead representing a group of concerned citizens of Fort Frances. We're a large and growing group, strongly supporting maintaining 820 Fernette Avenue in Fort Frances as green space and neighborhood park. We are here tonight to voice our concerns and to once again urge you, as our representatives, to oppose the proposed development of a housing project on the approximately 1.4 hectares of property at 820 5th Street East. We fully recognize and support the importance of accessible and affordable housing within our community. However, we believe that the current proposed location is not appropriate or ideal due to the significant and lasting impact it would have on one of the few remaining shared natural spaces available to the residents of Fort Frances. We're not opposed to social housing. In fact, directly across from my home, there are 35 rent-geared income apartments at Rose Manor. Another, Green Manor, sits just on the other side of Rose Manor. It has 39 rent-geared income apartments. The DSAB website indicates that these buildings are mainly senior or 60-plus housing. Within 3 blocks of our home, DSAB owns Elizabeth Manor, where there are 29 rent geared to income units, and Lady Francis Place, where there are another 10 rent geared to income apartments, and River Ridge, another 8 units. A short turn around the corner, and you will find 14 rent geared to income semi-detached homes at the 4th Street East Family Housing. That's a total of 135 units within a 1 kilometer distance from my home. That is 45% of the entire DSAB allotment. They have 296 units. It's 45%. The proposed 5 A-plexes would add another 40 units to the east end and reduce the green space and playground space to virtually nothing in our neighborhood. So our key concern is the loss of the green space. The identified area serves as a vital recreational and environmental asset, offering residents a place for outdoor activities, relaxation, and connection with nature. Its removal would permanently reduce access to open space for families, seniors, and children. Saving this green space would be meeting the size requirements of the Town of Fort Frances Official Plan 5.1.6 A and B. There is not another green space in the east end of Fort Frances that satisfies this official town plan statement. Another concern is the environmental impact. The green space contributes to local biodiversity, supports wildlife, improves air quality, and helps manage stormwater. Development would disrupt these natural benefits and potentially lead to long-term environmental degradation. Additionally, will the town's infrastructure support the considerable increase in demand due to the addition of significant increase in housing in the small space? The community well-being is another concern. Access to green spaces have been proven to support physical and mental health. Eliminating this area would negatively affect the overall well-being and quality of life of the residents. The availability of alternate locations. We urge the municipality, those of you here tonight, and DSAB to explore alternative sites for this housing project that would not require sacrificing valuable communal green space. There are potentially underutilized or more suitable locations that could meet housing needs without this loss. The green space is used by all age groups. When it had equipment, it was arguably one of the busiest parks in Fort Frances. And it's great to hear the kids playing out there. This group of residents has appealed to Town Council a number of times since 2021. When the town proposed to rezone in April 2021, we objected. We were not heard, but due to COVID-19 gathering restrictions, there was an online meeting for this rezoning, and many technical issues were encountered by people trying to attend. We submitted an electronic petition signed by 450 citizens and had 113 separate emails objecting to the plans at that time, but the rezoning went through. We appealed the rezoning through a local planning appeal tribunal and were successful in being awarded a tribunal hearing in January 2022. Again, this was during COVID-19, and there was a video conference. And despite our strong opposition to the proposed development of the housing project, we were no match for the lawyers on the other side, and we lost the appeal. We're back at it again, appealing to you once more. Please consider listening and hearing that we object to the destruction of the green space and the playground. When will the community be heard? How many signatures do you really need on a petition to be heard, to hear us? As a neighborhood, we'd be very happy to help to fundraise to build a new playground. We've looked at the 2024 DSAB annual report, and it states that its strategic goals include influencing system change and advocating for and implementing systemic improvements to better serve the community. We assume this means all the community, including children who currently use the green space and would use a play structure similar to the one that was recently taken down. and the future children that will be there. Once those of us that might be moving to the Commons or the one at the BMI one, if those of us are moving out, who's going to move into our homes? Young families will be. Another goal, or sorry, a strategic goal of the DSAB is to support people, strengthening communities, focusing on people-centered services that bolster community resilience and well-being. How better to strengthen the community than with a green space available to the entire community? And also in the DSAB report, it states that its mission is to deliver quality services with accountability and respect to meet the needs of the district. The East End of Fort Frances needs a green space, and DSAB has the ability to help deliver that. If the town and DSAB work together and leave 820 5th Street East as green space, then everyone would be satisfied. Our request is simple. We respectfully request that the DSAB and municipality reconsider the current proposal to develop on this green space. We ask that you identify and evaluate alternative locations for the housing project. And we ask that you engage in meaningful consultation with the community before proceeding with any decisions. Now that COVID is over, we can actually meet face to face. And we ask that you commit to preserving and protecting existing green space for current and future generations. We believe that a balanced approach is both possible and necessary, one that supports affordable housing initiatives while also safeguarding the shared natural resources that contribute to a thriving and healthy community. Thank you. I was told you might have questions.
I see Roger Owen cheering section.
Well, you know, this is the Save the Green Space group. We're comprised of neighborhood folks, and many of us have gone through as I said, 2 or 3 times through this process, and we're still wanting to preserve the green space. Never doubt that a group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brady, for a very thoughtful, articulate, and passionate plea.
Mm-hmm.
Councillors, do you have any questions or comments? Councillor Bernetta?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just wondering if you have done a similar presentation to the Social Services Board.
No, not at this time. We just recently kind of regrouped, and this was our first point of connection with the people that are the interested parties.
Okay.
No, not yet.
Thank you.
Some people have privately. They have been approached privately. There have been a couple that have gone to DSAB privately and asked or talked to them about it. So they are aware that there is concern about the development on that property.
Councillor Morrison?
Through Your Worship. Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm not too familiar with the housing proposal. How many units was it that they were proposing to build in that area?
Initially, it's 5 eightplexes. We have no idea if it will be more or less. There's the plan seems to be always in flux or in changing, and kind of leaves us in a little bit of a volatile situation. We really don't know what to be expecting. Whether they'll rebuild the school, tear it down, leave it to mothball, we have no idea really what's happening because it changes regularly, the plan.
Any other, Councillor Mackey?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for the presentation, Maria.
Thanks, Steve.
From that point, that green space,
Mhm.
where's the next nearest green space in the East End?
Green space, nothing that has significant it's a 1.4 hectare open area for soccer, baseball, like play. So nothing until you get probably to the north end or the west end. Nothing in the east end. We have there is a play structure. There's a playground near the library, across from the library. off of 2nd Street East. There's no parking, town-provided parking there, and you'd have to cross 2nd Street East, very busy intersection. If you were in our neighborhood, the kids would have to cross that busy intersection to get there. And it's not a big open play area. It's a contained play structure.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments, Councillor? Councillor McTaggart?
Thank you, Your Worship, and we thank you for a really well-rounded presentation.
Thanks.
I wonder if we were to engage administration into a discussion with DSAB to see what possibilities are available to us and them.
You're here.
Yeah, first of all, there's never any decisions made the same evening as there is a presentation. I do want to point out a couple of things. You alluded to the fact that the DSAB keep changing their plans. They are changing their plans. They just put out a media release on Friday.
We saw that on Friday, yes.
Right, so they alluded to some of the things that you spoke to. I think you really should make a presentation to the DSAB. This might not be a popular thing to say, but this is really not within the jurisdiction of the town of Fort Frances, because that property was sold, willing seller to willing buyer. So it's now private property, and the town of Fort Frances can't really interfere with anyone, including yourself or any of the people here, with what they do on their property, as long as it's within zoning bylaws and the town bylaws.
Exactly. So the point being that, we had, yes. So we're asking you as town councillors to work with the DSAB to maybe find some alternate locations as well. It's not like I have private property that's available, that would be a good alternate location. So that would be one of the things. Once we present to DSAB, which we're happy to do, then we'd certainly be happy to have the town work with us and with DSAB to find an alternate location.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Actually, there's going to be some great presentations right now. We're going to give away some money.
Yes, congratulations to all the Moffat recipients today. We have been on the receiving end with the festival committee, and it's certainly very, very nice to be able to receive that money. Thank you for listening.
Thank you again for a wonderful presentation. Okay, and that brings us to item number 5, presentations, which is the Moffat Family Fund Award. So I'm going to change my location to do this. Okay, so one of the benefits of being mayor is that on behalf of council, you occasionally get to recognize great organizations that contribute so much to the quality of life in our community. Not only do you get to thank them, but you do get to give them money. And this evening, we announce funding from the Moffat Fund, which will assist these organizations to continue with the important work that they do for our community and our residents. Tonight, we are awarding 19 checks to some amazing community organizations and providing them with grants on behalf of the Moffat Fund. This actually may be a record number of awards. I'm looking at our clerk. I think it's a record number. So on behalf of the town of Fort Frances and its council, administration and staff, I would like to thank all of these organizations for the absolutely wonderful work that you do in our community. You make our community a better place with your efforts, and you have made a difference, and you continue to make a difference. So it gives me great pleasure to be able to recognize the following organizations this evening and provide them with checks from the Moffat Fund. So I'll call out the organization, and if the representative could come up, we'll present you with a check and a certificate and get a picture taken. So actually, I think the first 7 of these, the Northwestern Health Unit is a partner with all of the first 7, in addition to the great organizations that we name. So the first one is going to go to the 8th Street Trails. And if anyone hasn't been out to the 8th Street Trails or doesn't use them, I encourage you to go out there. This is all a volunteer-driven organization. The trails are in great shape. And the wonderful thing that they do is that they rent equipment, or not they rent, they loan equipment. And so this funding is to build a shelter and also to support the equipment that they lend out. So could we get representatives of 8th Street Trails coming up? Thank you, 8th Street Trails. Another stellar organization who hasn't driven by and looked with envy at the Fort Frances Community Garden. This is a group that encourages people to grow their own food. They encourage young people to get into gardening. And this money is going to go to increase the number of plots that they have and also for their kids gardening club. What a wonderful thing to do for young people. So can we get representatives of the Fort Frances Community Garden coming up? Thank you, Community Garden. This one is Northwestern Health Unit, and it's Move and Munch, which is providing nutrition to young people who are taking part in various programs and making sure that they get the nutrition that they need. So many of the next ones coming up, and the previous ones as well, are all related to helping out our young people. So people from Move and Munch, Northwestern Health Unit, somebody come up. Another recreational group that provides wonderful recreational opportunities for the whole community, the Rainy Lake Nordic Ski Club. Again, they have wonderful trails that they maintain. They also help out with equipment, and this funding is going to go towards maintaining their trails and upgrading their equipment. So Rainy Lake Nordic Ski Club. Thank you. This is one that's near and dear to my heart as a former teacher. This certificate is for nutrition on weekends, and we have a lot of people in our community who are less fortunate than others, and it's a horrible, horrible thing when you're a teacher to see young people going hungry. This program will provide nutrition for young people on the weekends. and it's active in about 5 schools in our community. What wonderful work. Oh, I was just corrected with a whisper. All schools in our community. Thanks for feeding our kids. Another one that feeds people who are less fortunate. This is the Healthy Living Food Box, providing fresh fruit and vegetable, good food, nutritious food for those who are less fortunate. And it's a sad thing to say that we have so many people in our community who do really need this help. Healthy Living Food Box. This next one is a really innovative community program. It's the Community Paramedicine Program. And this helps people at risk, regardless of age, and provides them with basic necessities. It really goes a long way to helping people stay in their homes and to keep them out of emergencies. So Community Paramedic Program. Next one is Riverside Healthcare, but in particular, it's mental health care. As everybody knows, right across the province, right across the country, we're having issues with addictions, mental health problems, homelessness, and all the problems that go with that. And this particular group is providing basic necessities for those who are requiring help with mental health for whatever reason. So Riverside Healthcare, come on up. Another stellar organization in our community, the Port Francis Family Health Team. And I think we have the chair over there. And this is an innovative program and a much needed program for foot care because it's not funded. And so we have a lot of people in our community that require foot care. So Port Francis Community Health Team. This is for the Kenora Rainy River District Child and Family Services, and it's to help with transportation. As many of you here know, we don't have bus service in Fort Francis, unfortunately, and sometimes it's hard to get around. And so this is to remove transportation barriers so that young folks can get around and get to where they need to go. So, Kenora Rainy River District Child and Family Services. This next one, the Fort Francis Volunteer Bureau, is a group of volunteers that fill a gap, a crack in our social services network, and they do some really, really good work. And this, of course, will help them to continue that good work. So is the Fort Francis Volunteer Bureau here? we're fortunate to have in town an outstanding curling club, which provides recreation for people of all ages, including our youth. And they're going to use this funding to upgrade their washrooms to AODC standards. So Fort Francis Curling Club. I was going to ask Councillor Bernetta to come up and accept it on their behalf. Thank you. This extra organization does absolutely outstanding work for everybody in our community that needs a hand, and that's the Salvation Army. They are feeding so many people in our community. They're helping them find jobs. They're helping them find housing. They're clothing them. I can't say enough about the good work that the Salvation Army does. Salvation Army? I'll see that Ryan gets this. This next one's exciting, and it's an event that I'm definitely going to go to. This is the Fort Francis Chamber of Commerce, and it's to provide Quest for the Best. I wanted to get the name, Quest for the Best, but for the youth. So for any of you who have gone for the Quest for the Best that we have every year for adults, this is for the young people, and we have some amazingly talented young people in our community. What a great idea. Next organization, again, an organization that's near to dear to my heart and does wonderful things in our community, and that's Confederation College. And Confederation College is going to use this funding to provide summer camps for youth. I had the privilege just recently of attending their graduation, and it was a very moving ceremony. So many wonderful organizations. We're such a blessed community. This one is for the Fort Francis Public Library, and it's going particularly to the Friends of the Fort Francis Public Library. And this is for the Teddy Bear Picnic. So if you haven't attended a Teddy Bear Picnic, it's coming up soon. Make sure that you go out. There's something there for everyone. And of course, you can bring your sick teddy bears and have them doctored. An outstanding organization in our community is Kids Sport Fort Francis. This group believes that every child should have the ability to play sports, and this money will go to help needy families with registration fees and equipment. What a great thing for our youth. Kids Sport Fort Francis. We have our Air Cadets here tonight. I had the privilege of being at their annual review not too long ago. I go every single year. If you ever get a chance to go to the Air Cadet Review, it is open to the public. It's amazing to see these young cadets on parade and watching them get the awards that they give. Air Cadets is open to every single youth in our community, and they learn amazing skills and discipline. So Rainy Lake, Royal Canadian, Air Cadet Squadron, 807, come on up. And last, but certainly not least, is the OPP Youth Foundation. They do really good work in our community, and this particular grant is going to be used for their for the Halloween retreat at the library that they have every year. So OPP Youth Foundation. And that is the 2026 Moffett Fund distributions. Thank you once again to all of you wonderful, wonderful community organizations for the great work that you do. We're blessed. Oh, you're all welcome to stay. Okay, that brings us to correspondence. 6.1 is a Perry Sound resolution. And in a moment, I'll put an oral resolution on the floor. This deals with the future governance of our schools. And there's a fear that the review of governance will do away with school boards. And so the purpose of this resolution is to ensure that there always exists strong local representation. All of us here in Northwestern Ontario know that one size doesn't fit all, and we often get lumped in with urban schools in Southern Ontario. And it's our school boards that provide the local flavor to make sure that our kids get the education that they need. So we want to make sure that any review that the province does reflects the diversity and the needs of our community, especially rural and northern communities. So I'd like to put an oral motion on the floor that says that council support the Perry Sound resolution with regard to the province consulting prior to changing school board governance. Moved by Councillor Mackey, seconded by Councillor Bernetta. Any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you, and no one was opposed. Uh, 6.2, I have to say on this one, my bad. We did this one already, and I think Councillor Morrison spoke eloquently to it, but I saw it and I just realized, oh, we've got to get this done, but we've already done it, so we'll just pass that on. 6.3, this is a request for a legal review. We received a letter. I'll let the clerk do a brief preamble here.
Through the chair, so I sought legal opinion on the conflict of interest, and in this matter regarding Sunny Cove, was advised that there's nothing that we need to do to remedy the situation. Council will need to appoint a new member of council to the ad hoc Kiwanis Sunny Cove Sale Committee.
Thank you. Yes, I do want to point out that Councillor Mackey has spoken to the Integrity Commissioner on this issue twice. And I'm satisfied that he has done the right thing, but I'll throw it open to council if you have any questions or comments. Seeing none. So we need to appoint another member to the Sunny Cove, or the ad hoc Kiwanis Sunny Cove Sale Committee. Would someone like to be on that committee? Would someone like to be on that committee? Apparently someone wouldn't, so I'll let my name stand. So I need a mover and seconder that council will appoint Andrew Helikas to sit on the ad hoc Kiwanis Sunny Cove Sale Committee. Councillor Mackey and Councillor Bien. They jumped on that one quickly enough. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. I got caught up with the railway train. So Councillor Mackey withdraws. So we have Councillor Bien and Councillor McTaggart. Thank you, Councillor McTaggart. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That's opposed. That's carried. Okay, reports. I have a rather lengthy report. I'm not going to speak very much to it, but I do just want to give some shout outs. It's kind of a good news evening. It's a busy time of year. I've been attending several graduations. I want to give a shout out to Seven Generations Educational Institute. Their graduation is unique. As a former educator, I've attended many graduations in my life, and the Seven Gens grad is one of my faves. It's a wonderful thing. So shout out to Seven Generations on their graduation. Another thing that we did this month, this is June, it's Pride Month, so we raised the Pride flag here at City Hall and issued a proclamation. Again, this year there are 10 community groups that are partnering to sponsor various Pride activities. And so shout out again to the community and those 10 groups putting on the Pride activities. I mentioned earlier when I was giving out the Moffat Fund Awards, Conn College had their graduation recently. It was a privilege to attend that graduation. I felt really honored that I was invited to make some remarks on behalf of council. And I do want to say that one of our staff members, Mia Sexton, graduated from a 3-year program in HR. So that was really wonderful to be able to be there to see that. If you haven't done this, you need to do this. The Fort Frances Public Library unveiled an absolutely beautiful mural in the children's section, taking up an entire wall. So a huge shout out goes to Lindsay Hamilton for her magnificent work. If you haven't had a chance to get down there, go down and check out that mural. It is truly breathtaking. I also mentioned the Air Cadets. They had their annual review. That's always worth going to see the young cadets do their precision marching and do the march by and salute. Another community group that's so great in our community for young people, and that's the Kiwanis Club. The Kiwanis Club had their kids fishing derby last week. And it was so great, even though it was raining, to see all of the kids down along the river by the Sorting Gap fishing, totally oblivious to the rain, getting really excited when a fish was brought in and weighed in. There were some pretty good hot dogs and hamburgers made on the town barbecue. I was pleased to see that. So again, a shout out to Kiwanis for kids fishing derby. And then the last one I want to mention, I want to extend thanks to everyone who was involved in the Francis Municipal Airport open house. The place was packed. Our staff was front and center. Many councilors were there. We had hot dogs and hamburgers, and the plane that's going to be flying between Fort Frances and Thunder Bay was on display. North Star Air came down. They're a classy organization. They brought an entire plane load of Persians, as well as a beautiful cake. And so it was a really nice kickoff to regularly scheduled and reliable flights from Fort Frances to Thunder Bay. So shout out to North Star Air and our staff for putting this on. And with that, I'll go to Councillor Firth.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a few quick things. July the 2nd is going to be Indigenous Adventure Days. It's put on by a lot of participating partners. The Chamber of Commerce and the BA are in that group. So there'll be lots of activities in the 200 and 300 block of Scott Street from 10 until 2. We've been working hard at that. I also just wanted to make note that Councillor McTaggart and myself have been attending the Business Recruitment and Downtown Revitalization Committee meetings, and we've been able to make a lot of headway in a very short time. We've been identifying what we can put into a recruitment package. We've been able to do an inventory identification, provide feedback and recommendations for the community improvement plan, and we're in the very early discussions of what incentive plans could look like. The other thing that came out of the last BIA meeting was asking if we can move forward on securing a new ring for the bottom of the Christmas tree. So there is some talk. So things are exciting.
Thank you for that, Councillor Firth. And moving on to the consent agenda, we have two items. Item 8.1, recommendation reads that council approve the consent agenda. Sorry, I'm ahead of myself. We have one item. 8.2, the recommendation reads that council approve the regular council meeting minutes of June 8th, 2026 as presented. Any discussion on that? So then I have a resolution, this is the shortest resolution of consent that I've seen, that council approve the consent agenda as follows. Agenda item 8.2. Mover and seconder, Councillor Bernetta, Councillor Morrison. All in favor? No one was opposed. Okay, moving on to item 9, Administration and Finance Division reports. 9.1 is the Ontario BYOB events, and I'll put a resolution on the floor. The recommendation reads, the Council of the Town of Fort Frances agree with the recommendation of administration to not permit bring your own BYOB events as allowable under the Liquor License and Control Act 2019 to April 30th, 2027, and that administration be directed to bring a report on BYOB events prior to April 30th, 2027 for council to reconsider its position. Can I get a mover and seconder on that, please? Councillor McTaggart, Councillor Morrison. Okay, councillors, any questions or comments? Councillor Bernetta.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is something that's very high on the agenda for the Northwestern Health Unit. Our little section of the province here has the highest rates of alcohol-related visits to the ER in the Kenora and Rainy River District. So I think it's something that we advocate strongly that BYOB events not be supported by the municipality. So I believe Dr. Kit Young-Hoon will be asking for a delegation in the future around this topic. So I'm glad to see that it is, at least something that we are putting on hold until next April, but hopefully maybe when the new council is sworn in, that she will come forward with a delegation. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Councillor Bernetta. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Mackey?
Thank you, Worship. Yes, my initial thought with this is that, currently the liability rests on the servers, and they have to take training. And so if they overserve and something drastic happens, they could be held liable. Well, I don't know how this would work out. You can bring your own jug in. Somebody's got to be held liable, and there's no recourse. So I don't think I'm in favor at this point. I don't see how it's beneficial to anybody.
Thank you for that. Other questions or comments? I just want to echo Councillor Bernetta's comments. She's right on. This is a huge issue, particularly in Northwestern Ontario. Deaths due to alcohol are 6 times higher than the provincial average in Northwestern Ontario. Hospitalizations 5.5 times the provincial average in Northwestern Ontario. ER visits in Northwestern Ontario, 14 times higher than the provincial average, and impaired driving, twice the provincial average. So there's certainly a lot of alcohol available now with it being sold in stores. I don't think we need to add to that. So with that, I'm going to call the question. Oh, sorry.
Your Worship, if there's like strong resistance to this, and it seems like I haven't heard from every member of council, perhaps if you'd like to amend it and remove bringing back the report in 2027, we could just leave it as we're not doing this. And then if it puts the onus on the next council, if they actually want to do this, then they can direct us to do so. This right now, again, the province is moving in a different way. We want it to be respectful of not recommending it and doing some work, but I'm sensing there's strong opposition to this. So if there's interest in supporting this and not moving forward, I would recommend striking the last part of it, and then administration awaits further direction and putting the pressure on them to kind of, do that. So that would be my only recommendation after hearing some members of council. Thank you.
So just looking around the table, do you want to strike the last part of it, councillors? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so can someone please move that we amend it to strike the last part? Councillor Brunetta moves for amending. Councillor Mackey seconds that. So on the amendment, all in favor? That's carried. No one was opposed. So the main motion now then is that the council of the town of Fort Frances agree with the recommendation of administration to not permit bring your own bottle events as allowable under the Liquor License and Control Act. And that was originally moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All in favor? Oh, sorry, Councillor McTaggart.
We would have to, do not have to strike out till April 30th, 2027 out of that first paragraph?
Good eye. Thank you. Yes. Done. You'll allow me to do that? Okay. All in favor? That's carried. And no one was opposed. Item 9.2 is Committee of the Whole. Before I put this on the floor, I just want to briefly speak to it. From my perspective as chair, I feel terrible some nights because we have complicated issues that require a lot of discussion, but our meeting bylaw only allows you to speak twice, and you're timed on both. And some of these issues have nuances that require more debate. So a number of councillors have mentioned that thought that they would like to have Committee of the Whole back in some form. So this is attempting to do that to give councillors the opportunity to have more and fulsome debate in a less formalized setting. And so with that, I'll put the recommendation on the floor that council receive report AR-26-1001 titled Committee of the Whole, and the council direct administration to bring a draft procedural bylaw to the next meeting of council and then choose an option. So that's to be filled in. But can we get a mover and seconder on this? Councillor Brunetta, Councillor Firth. And we'll just go around the table. Which option would you prefer, starting with Councillor Bien?
Sure, I was just wondering, it's not that I'm against it in principle, but I'm just wondering the timing of it. Is it necessary to do it now, or should, again, be a decision of the new council that's coming in? Because even if it's passed at our July meeting, that leaves 1 in August, 2 in September. I'm not sure the rationale or purpose for doing it at this exact time. And maybe it's something the new council should pass with it and let them decide if this should be done, rather than us. Thank you.
I'll just see if our clerk wants to weigh in because she wrote the report. Did you want to weigh in on that?
Through the chair, so through this report, I did much consultation. Originally, it was my intention to wait for the new term of council. However, there was definitely support within to bring this back for council and get familiar with it before it's brought to the next term of council. So the option that we brought forward, we thought would be very easy. Something for us to get familiar with very quick, and something that would more easily onboard the next term.
Yes, CAO.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. As the clerk mentioned, we had a lot of dialogue. I strongly believe that this council should make a change. It doesn't preclude the next council to make some tweaks or some changes to it, but this original change was done with this council. Now we want to revert back. We've said it, I think you've communicated it clear that you want something different. I think setting up the next council for expectations and success, we have to have something different in place. Again, we will be engaged with the next council to tweak or change that, but to leave it the way it is, the concept is you have a new council. We don't know the outcome of that council. You might have, there's a learning curve. We think it's best to have an experienced council make this decision. And again, I stress their hands aren't tied to change it. So I would take the 4 years of experience, or some have been for a few years, set them up for success, and we'll work with them to change. That was the concept that we think it's, I strongly believe it's in the better hands for you to make those changes now. Thank you.
Okay. So Councillor Bernetta?
Thank you. I realize we're debating this before you go around the table. I am not running for the next term of council, but I strongly agree that some form of committee of the whole is a very important thing for this council to consider, primarily because I've been on councils where we've had executive committees, which in essence is a committee of the whole process. You learn so much more, you have so much more in-depth discussion. I've really found since we've switched that we are not given as much information and we do not have as much opportunity to have a fulsome discussion. So I would encourage you to switch now. As CAO Michael said, you can make tweets or okay, you can tweak it. Tweak it. Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah, you can tweak it when you have your next term of council, but some form of committee of the whole should definitely be considered. Thank you.
Councillor Bernetta? Councillor McTaggart?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I really support going back to some type of committee. I'm curious how this committee of the whole will work after council or before council, what the order is. I'd like a little clarity on that. But I know working through the executive committee system, as Councillor Bernetta is so aptly put, we were able to get into the issues and really talk about it and understand it. And what I'm finding is we're getting issues brought to us. We're having to make a decision right now. And with the committee of the whole or executive committees, we were allowed to examine it and then have a chance to think about it before it came to council for a final decision. And I really, I know that two councillors here tonight haven't experienced that system, and I really want to see us go back to some type of executive committee or committee of the whole. I think it's much better for the whole community when we make the right decisions first time.
Thank you, Councillor McTaggart. Anyone else?
So can my question is through you to the clerk is, how do you see this working out with committee of the whole? We have our council meeting, then have committee of the whole afterwards?
She's been waiting for that question.
Through the chair, so the way we envision it is it will be embedded in our regular council agenda, much like the in-camera. It would either be before in-camera or following in-camera, in which case we conclude committee of the whole and can come out with our resolutions. However, if council has a different way that they would like to propose, it would be great to hear that as well. Thank you.
Good?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Councillor Morrison?
Thanks, Your Worship. Wouldn't it be better to have it before the council meeting so we can discuss those issues going in?
Madam Clerk?
Through the chair, that's absolutely an option. One of the things we are considering is having council be able to refer a motion or refer an item that is in the council agenda to committee of the whole. Some items we might not be aware should be in committee of the whole until they're actually discussed. So that's one benefit to doing it later in the agenda. Thank you.
And having it embedded in the meeting, anything could be forwarded to committee of the whole. You could forward anything to the committee of the whole, depending upon where you embed it in the meeting. Other questions, comments? Yeah, Jay?
Thank you, Your Worship. There's no right answer to this, right? So this is really by choice of what's like the preference. You could argue having it before, you're going to have your committee of the whole dialogue. Sometimes it's long, and then when you're going to go ratify a decision in regular meeting of council, you might be in your third hour. So there's so many different ways. There's pros and cons. Executive committee, the problem sometimes if you have them during the day, during the week, you have people who can't attend them, right? So there's no wrong answer. I think it's just making sure that you're picking from the group of right answers. And again, you can tweak it, but administration prefers staying on the 2 meetings a month. That gives us a good cycle in order to produce that information. We're aware that it's going to be longer meetings, but there are separate meetings. Even though it's embedded, you have a committee of the whole, you're going to have items that the first time will only come to committee. And then the recommendation will not be to decide it that night. Unless you really want to do it, it'll come to another meeting. So look at it as 2 different meetings. One is going to be downstairs in the committee room, and it's going to be the first item. If there's items that administration uses their ability to put onto the regular meeting as like the first item, it goes to council, you still have the authority to say, actually, even though it's smaller, let's send this to committee tonight, and we'll talk about it downstairs with no official direction coming from it. Right? It'll just be a recommendation. So I just want to be clear, even though it's the same meeting, the mindset is treating it completely separate. You're in the committee room, and then you're just taking a recommendation from the committee and sending it back up to this room. So I hope that helps for clarity. And again, if council is unsure tonight, we do have a little bit of time. We do want to exercise it ideally once or twice before your term is done to be prepared for the next council. But we could bring this back in another month, and we would lose 1 meeting if you're still unsure on which option to choose. Thank you.
Councilor Mackey.
Thank you, Worship. I'm leaning to having it after the meetings, and I see there's a note here that could be either 2 or 1 a month, and I think I'd be leaning to having it at the end of each meeting so that they're shorter. If you have it once a month, it's going to be substantially longer than splitting it up over 2 meetings is all.
Thank you. Any other comments? So what I'm hearing is there seems to be some sort of consensus that you'd like a committee of the whole meeting. I'm suggesting option number 1, and that can be modified any way you like, can be modified the way Councilor Mackey suggested. But option 1 embeds a committee of the whole meeting in the council agenda. The other option that probably fits is 3, where you would hold a special meeting, committee of the whole, but then you're doing another meeting at a different time. I'm seeing a 1. Any other ones? I'm seeing another 1. Another 1. So 1's on the floor then. So now's your chance if you want to tweak it a little bit. You want to add anything to it, or do you want to, Councilor McTaggart?
Just for clarity, that's option A?
Option A. A1. Okay. The first one. Yes, Councilor Fur.
Through your worship, to Madam Clerk, do you kind of envision that like there's a cap on how many items we can put into the committee? Or can the whole agenda go into the committee? Like I'm assuming we would want some kind of parameter to, like Councilor Mackey said, if we can run them on both, then we can kind of park maybe 2 or 3 tonight, 2 or 3 the next. I think there should be some kind of parameter.
Through the chair, if council would like to throw in a parameter, that would be sufficient.
I think that you can spend a lot of time on this tonight. I think you should approve it in principle, try it, see how it goes, and then tweak it. Want to do that? I'm getting thumbs up. Okay, so we'll put A1 on the floor to vote on, and with the understanding that we'll try it, see how it goes, and then we can tweak it or customize it. So council direct administration to bring a draft procedural buyout to the next meeting, choose options A1, and that embeds Kyle into the regular council meeting. Can I get a mover and seconder on that, please? Councilor Firth, Councilor Bernetta. And then calling, oh, I already had those guys. Calling the question, all in favor? And that's carried, no one was opposed. And again, thank you for that. Okay, something else that I know is important to council, and that's the community well-being plan. So I'll put a recommendation on the floor that reads, council review the community safety and well-being plan for the Rainy River District, and the council approve and adopt the community safety and well-being plan, and that administration be directed to undertake an update of the plan with the revised plan to be presented to council within 18 months. Mover and seconder, please. Ian and Councilor McTaggart. Councilors, any questions, comments? Councilor Bernetta.
Just very happy to see this. It was something we discussed at our RDMA as well as at this table. So I'm really happy to see that something has come forward. I do know that the clerks were meeting, and I just feel like this is almost a regurgitation of what we asked the clerks to do. So could you just let me know where that's at in terms of who's going to be doing this review and who's involved?
Through the chair. So originally the clerks were meeting. That seems to have stopped at the present time. However, a couple of the municipalities have been in touch with the District of Rainy River Services Board, who are very happy to assist us with this plan. So at the moment, it is us, the Services Board, and the Township of Rainy River, and we hope to onboard more. Of course, we'll need to be bringing forward the Community Safety Wellbeing Plan Planning Committee, which is mandated through the Act, and we'll be bringing on more partners from there.
Other questions, Councilor McTaggart?
No, through you, Your Worship, thank you. I just want to thank the clerk for really being persistent with this. I know it's been a bit of a struggle, but it's an important part of the community and the community safety, and it ties back to the OPP and their business plan, and they use this document as a guiding tool. So it's important that it be current and up to date. I know that what we're doing tonight allows us some time to get some funding in place to advance it, and I hope that we stay on that. And again, thank you to the clerk.
Any other, want to make a comment or just a? Okay, go ahead. I thought you were giving me the peace signal, and I thought.
Sorry, through the chair. I just when I was reading through this, it really hit me last night when I was reading the priority risks, especially with all the mental health and addiction and stuff we have in the community. It really hit me hard that in the 15 to 24-year age group, suicide's 8 times higher in the region than anywhere else in the province, and it just really hit me in the heart that what families have to go through in our area, and hopefully we're able to come with a safety and well-being plan that'll help the entire community.
Thank you. Anything else, councilors? I just want to thank the clerks. Our clerk was, as Councilor McTaggart said, indomitable. She gets her teeth into something and doesn't let it go. And even though others might fall by the wayside, she saw it through and was a driving force on getting this to us. So thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Calling the question, all in favor? That's carried. No one was opposed. (9.4), kind of a fun one. put a recommendation on the floor that council receive this report as information at this time. Can I get a mover and seconder? So first, Councillor Bernetta. Comments, councillors? Councillor Firth, and then
Through your worship, I just wanted to give a special shout out to Madame Deputy Clerk. There was a lot of work that went into this, and it's a very detailed report. I think it's a great foundation. My personal opinion, I just don't know if we're there yet, but it was a really good read. Quite fun.
do you want to say a favorite tagline?
Through your worship, I kind of like the hooked one a little bit, and that Canada Place here, but there's complications with those. So I do think it's a great start. And I'm not sure what next steps would be, but I'm really excited to see all the ideas.
Thanks, Councillor Firth. Councillor Bernetta.
Yeah, I had the same, the same thoughts, you know, it seems like you've narrowed down from a really large pool of choices. So I commend you for that. I still feel like they don't, each of them is, you know, I don't want to appear that we're only a fishing community. I don't want to appear that we're only, you know, doing certain things. To catch that broad scope of what we want to portray our community as being, I think is the most difficult thing. So, I mean, the only one I thought of was Where Sunset Country Begins, because I have 10 million sunset pictures.
Anyone else? Councillor Morrison.
Through your worship, yeah, I think it's important that we're just not in a great hurry because I think we want to get it right so we're not in the same situation as we are again. None of them really struck out at me too much. I think we need something that's going to be catchy and people are going to see it and then something that we remember. This is where Fort Frances was about, like whatever the tagline is. Thanks.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Again, I just want to thank our deputy clerk. She put a lot of work into this, holding meetings online, and got a really good response. And however it comes out, because you're never going to please everyone, probably please all of us, but however it comes out, this is community input. This is our community giving us their input. So I really like that. So with that, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. I look forward to seeing the outcome. Okay, moving on to 9.5, legal advice re Sunny Cove. Put a resolution on the floor that council accept report AR-26-1115 titled Legal Advice re Sunny Cove Public, and this is for informational purposes only. Can I get a mover and seconder? Councillor Behan, Councillor Morrison. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, calling the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, moving to item number 10, Community Services Division reports. I have a resolution that reads that council approve report AR-26-1108 and authorize the Community Services and Facilities Manager or designate to 1. Adjust recreation facility user fees by up to 50% below the approved fee schedule where doing so is expected to increase utilization, recover operational costs, attract events, or generate incremental revenue. 2, create bundled recreation facility rental packages, including combinations of ice rentals, pool rentals, meeting rooms, partying rooms, and other municipal facilities. 3, negotiate event-specific rental agreements for tournaments, training camps, community events, and special tourism opportunities where such arrangements are expected to provide economic or community benefits to the town. And that council formalize the delegation of authority through an amendment to the delegation of authority bylaw. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Mackey, Councillor Firth. Discussion, councillors. Councillor McTaggart and then Councillor Morrison.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a very creative idea, and I think it's got some merit to it. I think it was in my first term of council that the then community services manager came to council and asked to have some fees waived because it was going to increase the attendance and support of the Memorial Sports Center. And we asked for a report back on the effectiveness of that. And I don't believe we ever saw a report come back on how well that had done. So I would like to proceed with this, but with an amendment that 1 year from the date of implementation, we get a report back on the use of the delegation of authority and the effectiveness of it in increasing business for the town facilities.
Thank you. Further comments? Oh, sorry.
We have
Councillor
Morrison was
Morrison.
next. You were next.
Yeah, Councillor Morrison was next.
But I proposed amendment.
Oh, do you want that dealt with now, or did you want to?
Well, we can proceed and then come back to that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
To the chair. I just want, back in 2015, I was part of a group that we started Toonie Hockey, that we seen some ice time that wasn't being used. So we proposed at the Community Services Division that we skated for $2. It started out 6 of us, and it went to 20, and then later on it went to $3, which we called Throonie Hockey. And then, but I believe it's still ongoing, Manager Miller. And at least it paid for the Zamboni to clean the ice, and it made a little bit of money. Sometimes there isn't enough people there, but it was just something creative, and it was a way to use ice time that normally wasn't being used. So I kind of like the idea.
We do have an amendment pending, but I'll go to Councillor Bernetta.
Yeah, I am a bit concerned about delegating authority, and it's something that every council should really put a lot of thought into. You're basically saying that as a council, we're letting the decision be made without our input. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for different things or proposals to come forward to council for approval. So I think, I guess if it happens frequently, then it becomes more cumbersome. But I do like Councillor McTaggart's amendment just because it still gives council the ability to say, yes, this seems to work, or no, it doesn't. I also just want to be sure that our manager is protected in terms of people coming forward and saying, you know, I rented the facility for X amount of dollars, and then this guy down the street came and said he got a better rate, and you know, he knows the manager, and I think he gave him a deal. So I'm just cognizant of the fact that we don't want you to be, guilt or somebody come forward and with those allegations. So those are my main concerns.
Thank you. I'm going to put Councillor McTaggart's agenda on the floor then, so Councillor McTaggart's agenda is everything that's there, plus we want to report back after 1 year. The clerk captured all of the caveats in your report, so I need a mover and seconder on the amendment. So I have Councillor McTaggart and Councillor Morrison. So on the amendment, any discussion on that amendment? Calling the question on the amendment, all in favor? Amendment passes. So the main motion then now reads everything that's there, and number 4, report back after 1 year with the caveats that Councillor McTaggart gave us. Discussion on the main motion now. It's been moved and seconded. None? Calling the question. All in favor? Carried. No. Okay, 10.2. Another report for information. Recommendation reads the council receive report AR-26-1111 as information. Mover and seconder on this one, please. So first, Councillor Behan. Discussion or questions? Councillor Behan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'm just curious, again, I understand the rationale behind this and why we're moving forward this direction, this way, to try and get more bids. I guess my question is, what happens if somebody doesn't make a bid on one of those components? How does that affect the overall project if one area is not bid on? Thank you.
Yes.
Through the chair. going out to receive quotations from various suppliers, breaking it down in these finer components, I have more flexibility to cast a broader net. I can reach out to engineering firms directly, capable of doing the painting directly, concrete work directly, things like that. And I think I probably have a better chance through an informal conversation of finding somebody that's capable of doing the work than putting out a bid package that they may or may not be looking for these individual people, or they might not be on the scope of a large general contractor or something like that.
Thank you, Manager Miller. Follow up?
Manager Miller, I'm just curious, what happens if nobody bids on the lifting and placement of the Hallett? What happens then?
Manager Miller.
Through the chair, something like that. That's a hired service, essentially. Like, we know that we could hire LH North, or there's a handful of other crane companies in the Northwest that can handle that sort of thing. So that's very much a pay for the service kind of thing. It's more the engineering evaluation or the painting that will be a little trickier to find someone, I would suspect.
Thank you. Further questions, Councillor Morrison?
Thanks, Your Worship. One of the issues I brought to administration a couple of times earlier this year is that the longer we held up for the tenders, we're having trouble because most of these contractors with the cranes, I talked to two of them back in January and February, they said they're going to be booked up for the summer. And I don't think we tendered this until, was it May? Yeah, so a lot of them already had their jobs for the summer. And that's one of the reasons with two contractors I talked to that do have the cranes to lift it, they weren't interested in doing it this time because they'd already booked solid for the year. That's one of the reasons we haven't any quotes. But what I'd like to see is hoping we can get maybe creative and maybe have some kind of community spirit project. I realize that 106 parts per million of the paint, but maybe somehow we can break it down and have somebody sand it, and that's wearing the proper PPE, and maybe have a community day painting the thing, just a little bit of community spirit, and also save some money. And I think it's something people remember. And I've already had a lot of people say they like to be volunteering to paint the Hallett. So I'm just hoping we can get creative on something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Oh, Manager Miller.
Through the chair, Councillor Morrison, that's something we can definitely assess. I can take that as a takeaway. Obviously, the safety of the public and the environment is first and foremost. A lot of these, especially when you're dealing with lead and asbestos or whatever, this wouldn't be asbestos for the hull, but they obviously require specialized training, and so we'd have to be cognizant of that for any volunteers. But I'll certainly evaluate what we could do from a community perspective.
Thank you for that. Anything else? Calling the question. All in favor? It's carried. No one was opposed. Moving on to agenda item 11, Planning and Development Division reports. This one comes out of the special meeting from Friday. The recommendation reads that Council approval report AR-26-1106 agree to the recommendation of administration to 1, amend the official plan associated with Schedule A2 to redesignate the subject lands of Shevlin Woodyard from future development to mixed use. And 2, amend the zoning bylaw to rezone the subject lands of Shevlin Woodyard from future development to a range of mixed use with exception, bracket, MUX, close bracket, mixed use with exception and holding zone, bracket, MUX-H, close bracket, and open space, bracket, OS, close bracket, based on Figure 1 of the attached planning rationale, and further, permit site specification to Lot 1 for a maximum building height of 20 meters and to permit enclosed outdoor storage in the front yard, and that these amendments be adopted by Council through bylaw. Mover and seconder for this, please. Councillor Firth, Councillor McTaggart. Councillors, questions, comments? Okay, calling the question. All in favor? It's carried. No one was opposed. Okay, moving to item 12. This is Operation and Facilities Division reports. This deals with the award of tender 2026-OF-07, which is shoreline restoration works. And the resolution reads that council approval of report, just a sec, Okay, we're good. Resolution reads that council approval report AR-26-1113 will agree with the recommendation of administration to award tender 2026-OF-07 to Allen Equipment Contracting Corporation for a tender price of $671,610 plus applicable HST, and that council approve an unbudgeted capital funding allocation of $42,500 for the replacement of the dock piling at the Scott Street T-Dock from the Corporate Projects Reserve Fund, and that a bylaw be prepared authorizing mayor and clerk to execute the agreement on behalf of the corporation. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Firth. Councillor Behan. Questions, comments, councillors? Councillor Bernetta.
Thank you, Your Worship. Our capital approval was $717,000 for this, and it looks like between the two for Allen Equipment, so the shoreline protection work plus the provisional work is around $715,000. So I'm just wondering why we have to approve an extra $42,000 for this.
Manager Rob.
Thank you, through the chair. So the work that was approved in the capital budget is related to the flood emergency and the associated funding that we have for that. The dock piling is a damaged infrastructure asset that happened after the fact. So it's a separate kind of entity, a separate project.
Thank you, Manager Rob. You're okay? Okay. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. No one was opposed. Okay, that brings us to bylaws. We have 5 this evening. Recommendation reads that the following bylaws be introduced and read, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed with the corporate seal and become law forthwith. Bylaw 43-26 to renew contract with the Central Ambulance Communications Center. Bylaw 44-26 to adopt the revised procurement policy. Bylaw 45-26, this is the tow award for RFP 2026-OF-08 to Exactus Energy. Bylaw 04-25A to amend the official plan 2024 Shevlin Woodyard. Bylaw 93-25A to amend the zoning bylaw Shevlin Woodyard. Mover and seconder, please, on this. Councillor Firth. Councillor McTaggart. Any discussion, councillors? Calling the question, all in favor? Oh, you're voting. All in favor? Well, Councillor McTaggart is a fast voter, and sometimes he puts his hand up before I finish the question, and then I think he has a question. Okay, that was carried, and no one was opposed. Okay, that brings us to item 14.1. This is a notice of motion, and I believe, Councillor Bernetta, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, that you wish to withdraw this? Yes.
Thank you, Your Worship. So based on the information provided in the in-camera portion, I will withdraw my notice of motion. And based on Councillor Mackey's conflict of interest declaration this evening, I do plan to contact the Integrity Commissioner myself. I realize that there is information from the Integrity Commissioner, but I would like to just have that discussion myself, just to just to feel that I've addressed the issues to my satisfaction. Thank you.
You're welcome. In order to withdraw the motion, council has to agree to it. Is anyone opposed to withdrawing this? Seeing none, then the motion is withdrawn. Okay, that brings us to item number 15, which is closed session. So I have a recommendation. Back. Council now meet in camera in order to address a matter pertaining to 1, updated option agreement between the town of Fort Frances and First Light. This falls under 239-2 bracket C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. 2, Kircher versus the town of Fort Frances update. This falls under 239-2E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. 3, Agency 1 damages claim. This falls under 239-2E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. And finally, 4, legal advice re Sunny Cove closed. This falls under 239-2F, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communication necessary for that purpose. I need a mover and seconder to move in camera. Councillor Bien, Councillor Morrison. All in favor? That's carried.
6:30.
For those who are at home, council will now move into closed session, and once the discussion is completed, we'll move back into open session and report. Okay, we're back in open session, and coming out of closed session, we have a number of resolutions. The first one that I'll put on the floor is that council approval of report AR-26-1107 will agree with the recommendation of administration to enter into an option agreement with First Light for the lands known as 1003 Frog Creek Road for the construction of a solar generating assets. Can I get a mover and seconder on that, please? Councilor Bernetta and Firth. Calling the question, all in favor? That's carried. Then from item 15.3, recommendation reads that council receive report AR-26-1110 titled Kircher versus Town of Fort Francis update for informational purposes only. Mover and seconder, Councillor Morrison, Councillor Mackey. Calling the question, all in favor? That's carried. Dealing with item 15.4, recommendation reads that council counter the offer in the amount discussed in the closed session and proceed as directed. Mover and seconder, Councillor Firth, Councillor Bien. Calling the question, all in favor? That's carried. No one was opposed. And then related to Sunny Cove, the recommendation reads that council accept report AR-26-1115 titled Legal Advice re Sunny Cove for informational purposes only. Mover and seconder on that, please. Councillor McTaggart, Councillor Bernetta. All in favor? That's carried. And Councillor Mackey abstained. Then we have the closed meeting minutes of May 25th, and the recommendation reads that council approve the closed meeting minutes of May 25th, 2006 as presented. Mover and seconder, Councillor Firth and Councillor Bernetta. Sorry?
Do that as amended, or we?
Thank you. Yeah. As amended, will you accept the as amended? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you for that, Councillor Bien. And we have our confirmatory bylaw. Recommendation reads that bylaw 46-26, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council, the corporation of the town of Fort Francis, be introduced, read, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with a corporate seal, and become law forthwith. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Morrison and Councillor Bien. Any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. And finally, having reached the hour of 7:49, this meeting of the council of the town of Fort Francis be now closed. Councillor McTaggart, Councillor Mackey. All in favor? That's carried. on that than there is on some of the items on the agenda.